Judy's project of the day. Look at that decal. She ordered it, she cut it, she decided to put one on each door. That is pretty cool. Hi, welcome to the channel. In today's video, I'm up in Vermont. I have been getting rained on for approximately 12 days straight. But we did get a little bit of work done, and it's time to take a look. So I'm going to give you a tour. Let's start in the garage and with the electrical, because that's what I love the most. She has got a really big open garage area here. The blue eddy, that sure does look familiar, and the typical fuse panel and her AC outlets all come to the blue eddy. She did have the Jackery before. She's got that if needed. Water pump, I installed a diesel heater. The water pump just comes across, and she's got these little 7-gallon buckets. She's got 2 of them that fits perfectly there, and she just has to unscrew that and take the top off, and she can fill it right here, or she can carry it to a water source and get that full. We left this long space open. She's got an e-bike, and that's where that's gonna go. Right here, she's a kayaker, and if she wants to go on a kayak ride, we need a place to put a kayak. So what I did was I put this door right here, and when you open that door up, let me open it up for me. We can, we're on a hill, we can pass her kayak right through there, and she can take that along on the road with her. And let's take a look inside. All right, guys, let's take a look inside. One of the jobs that she hired me to come up here and do was to build her a galley. And she has got an awesome Dometic refrigerator, a area for her gray tank, and then some storage for dishes or food. Nice cooktop, faucet. This still has to be stained, but she went with a small sink, big enough to stick your head in and do your dishes. That maximizes the amount of counter space she has. She put the windows in before I got here, and the bed was already done. Put in a microwave cabinet for her, and that's just a 700-watt microwave. We did shiplap on the ceilings, LEDs. She's got isolated switches for the front and the back. And then we got a dimmer switch for the 2 back bedroom lights, and the dimmer switch isn't working, so she's gonna do that. We did give her an outlet above the cook station, and then another one isolated for the microwave only. Outlet underneath the counter here for her cooktop. That's a nice cooktop. 23 by 24 base here for her toilet. She's got the Ogo toilet. Pretty nice, dark in there. Plenty of storage around there too. Nice. Went ahead and cut the header, got it up after the interview, and really finishes that area off nice. Alright, so I'm going to show you a feature with this Lagoon mount. Is we made it so that she can sit in the front seat on the bench here or the double bench here and use the Lagoon table. But if she also spins this around, she now has a nice long workstation here for preparing food or whatever she needs to do. Yeah. If she becomes a YouTuber and she needs to do live streams, this right here could be her studio. So all kinds of room here. Twin bed mode.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's a cool feature.
That was one thing I really wanted, was to be able to possibly bring someone. I don't
Yep.
know if it'll happen, but
That
possibly.
is a cool feature.
Yeah.
All right, Judy, thanks for bringing me up here. Thanks for hiring me to do this job. What do you think?
Well, I love it. I absolutely love it. You had talked about something early on when you came here, that after you were showing me your van, just that Kelly insisted on having it open, and I kind of held that concept. And this is really open, which I love, having the elbow room. It almost feels like a full-size room in here, doesn't it?
It does.
But the thing that I like best about it is that I travel with two small dogs, and they can often be underfoot. And this van accommodates the two dogs beautifully. They can be very, very close. I can be all over my kitchen and I won't be stepping on them.
What started van life for you?
Let's see. Well, I had an R-Pod, which was great, but I've got an older car, and the only time the car burned oil was when I was dragging this R-Pod. You can't park with it, and I ended up selling it. After COVID, I had to go back to work. I have been working from home. I had to go back to work, and hotels are kind of expensive. I've done my share of hotels. They also don't feel that clean to me. And this is all my germs in here, so that's nice. I don't have to worry if my dogs are barking too much or disturbing anyone. So I had been checking out vans on YouTube for a couple years, and I came to the decision last year I neither had the capacity to do it nor all the tools to do it. So I gave it up, and then recently it came back to me after commuting back and forth. I work 2 hours away from my house, which is a bit of a rough commute. And I was doing that 2 days a week and working from home 2 days a week. So the van idea kind of came back into play, especially since YouTube kept pitching it to me. So I couldn't let it go. So it came back in. And then what happened was, after the realization that I couldn't do this on my own, I've also got some physical limitations as well, arthritic knees. And what I did was I got on YouTube and I watched a whole bunch of YouTube videos, and I thought, who could I stand to spend more than a couple days with on YouTube? And pretty much some people had such huge egos, and I chose Jonnie because she's got good communication skills, very enthusiastic about sharing her knowledge. Other people weren't quite that enthusiastic, and it just went all to their head. And I'm also a nurse. Jonnie's a nurse, so we have that connection. And that's how this whole project got started. I emailed her, she answered back, and game on.
What was your hardest decision with the van build?
The hardest decision with the van build, well, just jumping and going for it was hard enough. I think the toilet, I have been pissing in a bucket and it's sort of okay. And I was almost going to go with the bucket because I did not want to buy, everyone has nothing but hosannas and hallelujahs for the nature's head, and I just couldn't wrap my head around spending that much money on a nature's head. And as we kept talking about the toilet situation, I kind of got off of the nature's head, and then she was telling me about the Ogo. So once I got sold on the Ogo, I could go with that. I really, if you hadn't brought up the Ogo and just talked about the nature's head, I'd be using a bucket today.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nice.
that was a hard one. It's also a big expense. The other thing that was really hard were the windows because of the the windows were leaking. And when Jonnie stopped talking about what are these things for, it's probably for the drainage, and just went ahead and ripped them off like a bandage, and the inside of the van stopped leaking, and that was the best day. So that was a big turning point for me enjoying the van. It's hard to get excited about doing this much work on the van when you see there's water leaking, and we've had just biblical rain here.
Being a solo female on the road, is there anything that scares you out there?
Not so far. Falling asleep at the wheel. I hate to drive, and I have taken this out to, I have a new grandson in Colorado, and then spent some time in Colorado, and then went to Utah over the summer. And that was a whole lot of fun, just being able to drive and stop when I wanted to and take a nap if there was too much traffic from the semis. I have one little dog sitting in one window and one little dog sitting in the other window, and they're guarding me. I felt very, very safe the whole time, and I didn't think I would. I'm a bit of a chicken, but don't tell anybody. I've always felt very, very safe traveling wherever in the van, and wherever I've stayed, I felt safe. There was one time in God, where was I? Illinois. I was going to stay in a Walmart, and there was a bunch of young kids that came around in pickup trucks, and they were in front of the pickup truck and in the back of the pickup truck, and they were out to party. And I was in the middle of all of this stuff, and I just said, I'm really tired and I'm not up for this, and went and stayed in a motel. So I don't know if any harm would have come to me that night, but they were drinking, and wherever there's a bunch of rowdy kids and there's alcohol, I just like to get out of the way.
Yeah, always good to follow your gut.
Yeah.
So what do you say? You want to meet Ruby and Frida?
This is Ruby. They're mini Poms.
Frida does not like me.
She doesn't like anybody but me.
I'll tell you what, the good thing about that is they'll hear somebody, many seconds before we will.
Oh, yeah.
Are you a good doggy? On almost every build I do, something just seems to work out perfectly. And we had a dimmer switch that was bad, and I'm packing up my tools, and guess what was just delivered? What? All right, guys, before I sign out, a big shout out to Judy and Ruby, Frida, for having me for the last week and a half, showing me a good portion of what Vermont has to offer besides rain, and amazing restaurants and amazing company, multiple game nights. So it was such a good time. All right, guys, thanks for following along. We'll see you guys on the next video.